Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the VectoScalar Tech Talk show. I'm sure you are having a nice time. Now, in every episode of VectoScalar Tech Talk, we have amazing speakers sharing their great insights about the technology and how things are changing in the technology world. And in the same regard, in this session also, we have an amazing guest speaker, Krishna Gowda, with us, who will be talking about how to design world-class digital customer experience. Welcome, Krishna, to our show.
Thank you, Vikas, for having me on the show.
Thank you. And for the benefit of our audience, let me give you an introduction about Krishna Gowda. Krishna Gowda is founder of Design Den, a global website development agency. He is an international UI UX expert with 25 plus years of experience and have served clients including HP, Deloitte, Manipal Global, Gale Agency, Sabre, and more. He is certified usability analyst from Human Factors International. He is a global speaker, corporate trainer, and founder of Chris School of Web. He is barefoot runner and aspired to become an organic farmer. His upcoming book, Kick, will cover stories of Krishna's life adventures. So, Krishna, before getting into the technical aspect, your barefoot running inspired me so much. So, can you talk and share about how it started and what you do there?
Yes, like it's quite interesting for me as well. Being in the corporate industry, first of all, being a farmer, we used to roam barefoot like when we were kids, and we almost spent the entire childhood, the school days at least, without when we were playing cricket or any game, like it was completely barefoot, and so working
Okay.
in fields and all of those things. But when I came to the industry, like in corporate segment, like it was completely all polished, no shoes, nothing, full shoes, and no, never barefoot, and it just happened that way. And probably one fine day, so when I just came to home, and my wife wanted to buy something, I had removed the shoes, and then I thought, like, why not, I'll just walk in uh, to the next door store, so to pick up some small stuff. I thought, like, I'll just step out, and then that's when I realized that, like, I was not able to walk even 50, 100 steps without the shoes or chapel. So that's when I realized, like, okay, this is going to go crazy. Thought of disaster management. I'd read somewhere, and then I thought, like, I slowly started with barefoot walking, and I had started running, but like the complete running was on with the shoes and all costly equipment. That's when it started, the disaster management thing, so from where I picked up the thing, and then I saw a few of my running club members, running barefoot. In fact, so my own CEO at that point of time, so my CEO and both the president, so they both were hardcore runners, uh, seeing them, like, I started running, Sanjay and Susma, and they used to do barefoot, and my own my running coach, Thomas Bobby Philip, he was doing barefoot, and all of this combined, I started barefoot, and it's today, like, it becomes difficult for me to run in the shoes.
Okay, so this seems like this was a great transition of a user experience, and probably that might relate to how you handle your customers. So, coming back to the topic, because it was an amazing story, and definitely during the podcast, you'll love to see more of how the barefoot thing happened. So, now talking about digital customer experience, with which you have more than 25 years of experience. So, what is the importance of digital customer experience in today's time?
So it's very, very important. Every user comes with a pre-built mental model. So if at all, if I'm going to a store, if at all, if I'm going to a website, or anything, right, any product, if at all, if I have to try, the user comes with some pre-built mental model, and we as designers, we as the product owners, the entrepreneurs, we need to understand that particular thing, and then build our products just to suit the user's requirement. So many times, so what happens is, so me as a business owner, I try to push in, like, whatever I would want, right? I wouldn't care, like, what the user actually wants, right? Like, what user is actually looking at, like, what actually user is expecting. So this is where like so the whole journey takes a different turn. So when we try and understand the users requirements, so working on these particular stuff like so will make a huge difference, and like the entire handshaking experience with the user, right? So when it comes to the store or a digital product, like, so the keeping him onto the on the product, so the brand loyalty or brand awareness or the brand recall, error prevention, like so for that particular reason, like everything makes a complete this one. If we design
Okay.
something, assume like I'm building a video playing platform, and if I want to recreate or redo the play button, it might not go well with the user, because like so the users have already seen the play button, like the red the arrow with the
The
play.
YouTube experience.
YouTube experience like is already there, and like we'll have to improvise on that particular perspective, like so not killing it, adding some other thing. So working on these things, like so we'll create different stuff. So this is where the journey starts with.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense that in today's time, customer is everywhere and we need to understand the customer's need. So instead of designing the application based on our understanding, we need to understand our customer needs first, that what are the assumptions with which they are coming to our digital platform. It can be a website, it can be a mobile application, and then
So,
design the application accordingly.
and in today's day, like so we are not the only guys who's providing the kind of services like so what the users are. There are plenty of players in the market, and the guy like so users will have multiple choice. So if you are not doing right, like if you are not doing like the best user experience, right, like so the best customer experience, like here, the users will move off. So
Okay.
keeping these like various stuff, like so we need to practice and build the right experience for them. And there are various methods like so we follow like when we are building this. Like so,
Okay.
the first and foremost thing is understanding the user needs, and like so the users requirements here.
Okay, okay. Though most of our viewers are coming from the technical background, but for the to set up the foundation right, there are the three terminologies used in this space. One is UI, which is user interface, then UX, which is user experience, and then CX, which is customer experience. Are they same? Is there any difference? And if there is a difference, what is the difference?
Yes, like so, we in the tech industry are also like so we always have a lot of differences here. I mean, like people misunderstand these terms, and like they use these terms like exchangeably, like so use them like vice versa kind of stuff.
Right.
User interface. User interface is a journey, like is a term like so where we define and explain like the entire design process, like so the color combination, right, like so the menu design or the aesthetics of the look, aesthetics and the look and feel of a it could be a website, mobile app, or a dashboard, whatever application we are building. It's the look and feel of that particular thing, right? Like so,
Okay.
whereas user experience is the experience, like the entire experience, like so what the user will be doing. So, for example, assume assume we are building a grocery store, like might be a e-commerce store, right? So what when I say like e-commerce, like, so again there are plenty of players. If my e-commerce store doesn't have the proper design, right, like so which will wow the user to use and like take it forward, the design plays a important role. The look and feel of the website, right, so that is UI, user interface. And then comes the user experience. Say, as I said earlier, like so, the user comes with a pre-built thing. Like so, there is a user intent. Say, for example, like if I'm going to a grocery store, let's take a real life scenario. Assume I'm going to a grocery store or a mall. So if I'm going to a mall, like I'll have probably like, I'm going to pick up a sports shoe for my running, right? So that is the
Right.
intent, like so when I walk in, but I might go pick up few other things, like so when I go to pick up my shoes, right? Like so the journey, the user flow in the real life is what needs to be captured. And if I'm making my e-commerce store, I need to provide it in such a way that like so I should be quickly jumping in to find out my sports shoes. And then once I'm doing that particular process, like so probably like we always see this. So on the counter when we go to make the billing, we'll have certain products kept, and like might be at that point, I might get interested to that small socks or a hat, right? Like or a
Yes.
sweatband, those kind of stuff. Or in the real life mall, there will be assistant like who will be walking around and who will come and, sir, why don't you try this, right? Like so you will give an option. These all are the real life models. It's what we'll have to implement in this one. Doing all of this is user experience, right? So so the same thing, like so user experience and customer experience, like probably like falls in the same bucket, like so where we take it
Okay.
forward and like do this whole journey. So user experience and customer experience um, makes the increases the product selling capacity, right? Like so the brand retainable capacity. So there are various things which will the UX and CX adds here. So these are the basic stuff,
The-
basic
so
differences, the look and feel, and the whole journey, right? Like is this one.
That makes a lot of sense. That we understand that UX and CX might come into similar bucket based on the application that we are interacting with, but definitely the UI and UX are two different things. And as
So
I was listening to you, I could get that example that probably one can design a very beautiful colored video player, as you just gave the example of YouTube. But if it is not intuitive enough for me, that okay, this is the button where I need to press to get it done, then even though with that beautiful UI, it may not make any sense. And I think all of us have those experiences when we are visiting a new five-star hotel, that you go to washroom and you will see a beautiful faucet there and you want to make it run. And in different hotels, the way to play that faucet is different, right? How to
different and
make that tap work. Now, even though the UI is very interesting, but there is a lot of innovation, but user experience is kind of poor when you take 30 seconds to figure out how to make it run.
the struggle is inevitable there.
Yeah, true. So, Krishna, when you have worked with clients like HP, Deloitte, Manipal Global, Gale Agency, these are big names in the industry. So there is definitely a higher benchmark for companies like this, where they want a high level of a world-class UI UX. So, in your experience, because you must have worked with small clients as well within India. How do they operate versus this large organization? So, what is the secret sauce behind creating world-class UI and UX? How is it different?
Um, I would say like I was fortunate enough, like my the long spanning career, like 24, 25 years, like so at least 22 plus years in the industry, and like even before joining the industry, like I was doing this stuff. Uh, I started working like even before the I mean like there was this internet revolution like happening like, at those point of time when I started writing code. Like I started as a developer. When I started writing code like HTML,
Okay.
there was no CSS at all, and I saw websites like so from the early days, like so where we had Netscape Navigator, like so where there was Internet Explorer, the fight between Internet and Netscape, like, and then Firefox came in, right? So all of this journey, like so, is very crucial like, in the growth of HTML, CSS, or the web technologies to the next level. And me practicing in those practicing from those early stages, and probably like creating hundreds of websites like those days might have helped. Not might have, like it has helped my uh, skills like to get the polished look and feel. I remember one of my engineering manager like you would quickly identify looking at the code, like so whatever the code which has gone live, you'll say, hey Chris, this is your code, right? Just by looking at the code structure and stuff. And might be like it all happened. In fact, like I've been fortunate to work like people like Sanjay Agarwal. I don't know. We normally generally hear these terms, right? Like Superman, He-Man, Batman. I think like Sanjay is one such Superman, like so, whom I've worked with. I think like so there were days like so I was just sitting and watching Sanjay coding, Sanjay do the code, and like I was just sitting and watching behind him and seeing the stuff like so. Like maybe all of these things help. Working with people like Babu Prakash, Sanjay, Windy. So many of these guys. Like, so there are plenty of these guys like so whom I think like whom I have to give the credit to. I think like practice or long term, working with the people, good people, and the practice is what like has helped me.
That's a very interesting example, that when you mentioned that even by just looking at the code, your manager could identify that, Krish, this is your code. And I think, as you just mentioned, that probably when you observe these people doing it, so you indirectly imbibe that behavior, how to build world class application. What do they think before even writing first line of code? Because in my experience as well, and while with a similar experience in VectoScalar Technologies, we can truly say that, like, people before writing a single piece of code, they think through that what is going to happen, versus the other coding style, people will just start writing and then they realize that was it this was supposed to be done or something else was to be done. So I can see that pattern, that probably because you work with really good people, you imbibe that behavior naturally, that how to develop these world class UI and UX. Before moving further, we have a question coming from Bhavna Mia. Let me take that question. Bhavna Mia is asking, what are some future potential future trends in digital customer experience design, and how can business prepare for them? Any example that the patterns that you observe in the marketplace?
So there are plenty of trending stuff like which are going on in today's day, right? Like so, apart from so there are design trends as well as the customer experience stuff like so the UX trends like so which are going on. Again, one very important thing is to understand the user requirement. That's where like so which will make a very huge difference in any product to win or lose the thing. Um, so designing to retain, right? Like designing. So there are different terms like so what we use. Uh, One simple thing is like so PET, persuasion, emotion, and trust, right? Like so you need to make sure like so you use these terminology, like so use these techniques to design them. So probably like building the trust is like very important. Uh, Building a trust with the designs and the consistency, like so there are plenty of stuff. So we can in fact do a complete session on this particular topic. So I think like so probably we can
Yes, I totally can understand the importance of PET there, that perseverance, and how you can pursue people to understand what you are selling, and make them understand the importance of things that they are doing. And definitely, there are trends that are upcoming in the digital customer experience design space. Trends like slowly and gradually, one of the trend could be that we are seeing the transition from own mobile app to WhatsApp. These are small in bit pieces, we can see that kind of transition happening. But as you rightly mentioned earlier, that we need to make sure that it's not just that some poor UX with great UI, because I have seen that confusion happening a lot, where people will create amazing UI. I visit websites on daily basis where they are very innovative, very creative. You just move your mouse and you see a lot of things happening, but as a user, the information that I'm looking for, I have hard time finding that information. Okay, okay.
again just to add in, uh, I'll be a different user on a different time of a day. So morning I'm a different kind of user. Afternoon, like so when I'm busy, like I might be a different kind of user. Evening when I'm drunk or when I'm busy with something else. When I'm driving, I might be a different kind of user. So there are different stages to the same user. So you need to understand again, getting in more detail here. Understanding these important things, like so, and involving in those, getting the feedback at every point, like makes a thing. So keeping those different state, like also will will add more value to the stuff.
Okay. While we are discussing the same question, let me ask you a similar question: that is there any website or any design that has inspired you a lot? Like you found so much inspiration or so much futuristic in that form of design. Anything that you want to share with our audience?
When it comes to my inspiration, there are plenty of websites I take inspiration from. Many times, our own Outlook Express, the Outlook Express, I use them so from when it comes to the navigation. I think so that's a clear example of different types of navigation. So they've used almost all the types of navigation over there. I use Apple Music as an experience, like as a simple thing, so wherein to create different kinds of thing. So and one other very important thing I generally do here is, so assume I'm building an e-commerce website, and my inspiration need not be another e-commerce website. My inspiration
Okay.
can be some other product, wherein some other different product altogether, so getting trying to get the thing. So or might be I'm building my own building a regular corporate website, trying to redesign their whole thing. So then the I need not have to be regularly looking at the inspiration on a similar kind of stuff. So it can be from different things. So practically, I'll try and look at different places, and it works on and again, as you said, so there are millions of websites on coming. So websites are getting changed, so the trends are moving on from psychedelic colors, different tones and different icons. So there are micro interactions which are happening. So micro interaction is one more trend in today's digital customer experience as well. So if at all, if you want to do so those very minor stuff. So and though, but there are plenty of these things. So trained implementing them will add so many things. So for me,
Okay.
there is no one place inspiration. Might be it goes on. In fact, I also look at might be so I'm looking for a proper color combination. So the color combination may come from a flower, may come from a natural the tree, the whole the scene, right? So it depends.
Okay. Okay. I got that point. And probably just to add to my recent experience, today only I visited India CIO Summit that was happening, organized by IDC organization, which is into IT research. And it was happening in Delhi. So I visited and I attended a talk by Neil Harbison. And he's from Cyborg Foundation, where they are installing the devices on their body. So
Hmm.
Neil Harbson is having, because he was having peculiar kind of disability in the visual angle. So he has installed a device which is attached to his head neurotransmitter, and whenever he come closer to anyone or probably any image, that sends him a sound signal. So probably the way he was talking about, the future is quite different. It's not about just having augmented devices on your body. It's actually something which is installed, permanently installed in your body. And in that kind of environment, having a customer experience would be altogether different. So just a thought, because I just attended it in the afternoon today.
And yeah, so the technology, the pace it is growing, right? So you can never expect what will happen in the future. The glasses you are wearing could be the only thing you may you may need in the future, right? So
So many
I think that,
possibilities.
yeah, in fact, I never even when I started my digital journey way back in 1998, I never thought I'll be designing for a wearable device, right? So
Okay.
I designed for a wearable device, and as a early thing, adapter to the TV and stuff. I never even visualized that I'll be designing a game for a TV. And I was fortunate enough to build a game for a TV and for a touchscreen kiosk, and the kind of devices on which I've worked on were crazy. So even now, so we never know what new device would be coming in, or where the usage would be. Like, so when we build a software, when we build an app, right? Like, so the usage can be in a various different. You never know like what's coming future in the future, right? Like, so with AR,
Sure.
AI, crazy.
Possibilities are limitless. Krishna, you earlier mentioned about micro interaction. Can you give more details with an example just to help our audience understand it better?
So micro interactions, like say assume I have a call to action, right? Like, so generally what happens is like when someone submits when someone clicks a button or someone submits the form, right? The buttons are completely designed in a static way. So assume as soon as you click the button, right? Like, so probably you just play a simple a small animation there, like so where which will disable the button and play that like loading symbol, which will give a feedback to the user that like yes, the click you did is doing its work, and you just wait, right? Like, or sometimes like so we tend to like so assume like I'm doing the banking I'm using the banking app, and I want to transfer money. I don't know like if when I click the button if there is an action happening or what, right? Like, so
Sure.
just this small interaction may change, or might be many times like what happens is like so the design, we forget to give the feedback to the user if it is a link, right? If it is a button, right? Like so there is like that common when you move the mouse or the cursor above the link, it changes to the from arrow it changes to the hand symbol, right? So there you can just like add some very minor a small movement, a line drawing in, right? Like, or when you click on the button, or so this kind of like very simple, the color changing from gradient to the this one, like so the smooth animations. There are plenty of such micro interactions like what we can create to get them. And this also from user experience gives the proper feedback and much bold feedback, and again keeping that like so not to irritate the user like so with lot of movements and stuff. So they have to be very subtle and simple interactions.
Got that point. And it seems that when you were explaining micro interaction, the thought that came to my mind was that it's not just having a one big communication in a manner that you have just put the information on the website and now it's on user to interact it, but it's more of a micro conversation kind of thing. Probably the micro interaction is like micro conversation where you read the mind of the user, that each interaction, that whenever they are scrolling below and wherever they are hovering their mouse, it's kind of a communication that is happening, and you try to communicate that what are the possibilities, these are the interaction that can happen, and then you communicate it back to the user.
True. So giving the active feedback to the user, like when I say active feedback, uh, just like on a it could be as simple as on a button or a link, right? Or on an image, right? Like, so so many of these things, like, so that will give a clear the user won't have to struggle, user won't have to think that like so what's going to happen or what's happening.
Sure. For the this is a input for the audience. In case you have any other question, you can type in the comment box below. We would be glad to have your question answered during the VectoScalar Tech Talk today's session. And even if we are not able to take all the question, we'll try to make sure that those unanswered question is answered later. But it will be great to have your question in the comment box below wherever you are watching this show, whether on Facebook, on YouTube, or on LinkedIn. You can type in the comment box below and we'll receive those questions in our portal. Now, moving forward, Krishna, definitely it seems like a very good ideal state to have a world class UI UX design. But with our experience of delivering IT application, there are tight timelines, there are tight budgets, right? So in that kind of scenario, what are the common challenges that are faced by UI UX developers and how they can overcome those challenges?
um, Growing technology, right? Like, so the technology, the tech industry is growing very fast, and adapting to those new thing like might be a challenge here. Say like I've started developing with a specific technology, and by the time like I am getting ready to do a launch of something, that's already old. So when very important thing to keep in mind here is like, so I adaptability to the new stuff. Again, keeping the point here, keeping one more thing to keep in mind here is like the end users. So and again, it can be vice versa as well. So might be there is a new technology which has come in, like so something, a new brand new feature come in, but are my users ready to take those new features? If the users are not ready to take the features, so there is no point in going and doing the app or design in that new tech, right? Just because there is technology, there is a new thing, you need not to implement them in your design or in your development, and it's vice versa, right? Like so, when there is new design, new technology, like if the users are ready to append, users are ready to use adapt to those stuff, so make sure like you use them. So being ready, that's one bigger challenge here. And the assessment on the various stuff, like so the time estimations, like and the product, the different stuff, like that has to be, there has to be a proper care like taken when we are doing this in the beginning. So that way, like we can overcome those problems here.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's a beautiful insight. That by the time we are about to deliver the project, things have changed, and it is important that our design should look good, while keeping in mind that I think in whole conversation the user is at the central point. That we need to go back and check with the user. But in today's time, to what extent can we actually go back and check with the user? It's just that probably we have taken the initial input and we'll design the UI UX, and then we'll show the user once, and is it enough or we have to do it more?
So in the UX, the reason like we have termed it user experience or user experience design here is we call it as UCD, user centered design. We involve user at every stage here, right? Like so, the user is one of the main stakeholder, and like so we keep interacting with the user. Like so we keep getting feedback from the user, and there are various means like in which we do the user research, right? Like so, it could be an interview, it could be a user testing. So different types of user testing, like what we use, and like we go on and do. And it's not that like so first we do the basic interview process, like understand the product, and then we just won't jump in and design the product. So there are different phases, like so from the starting from the allow fidelity wireframes to the visual designs. It go there are different phases. So and we involve users in each of these processes, like to understand the thing. And again, depending on the project budget and project timelines, so the steps may vary, but like more or less, like so we use the user in every step here. So
Okay,
we
so use
try and get the
yeah.
feedback.
So feedback should be received from the user at each and every step. It's not just that from the beginning or towards just middle we are taking the feedback. It's a continuous journey to keep taking the feedback from our user. That's
True. So
interesting
there
insight.
are yes, there are multiple methods again, depending on the product and stuff. So we can just go back and use whatever.
Makes sense. Makes sense. We have another question coming from Shubham Gupta. What are the
Mhm.
key components of a successful digital customer experience strategy?
Uh, So here there could be many. Say one is like adapting to the changing needs, right? So the user, the understanding the user, the requirement, right? So may change uh, based on different scenarios. Like as I told earlier, like, so I'm not the same user. In the morning when I'm running, like I might be a different user. Like, so when I'm at work, I might be a different user. When I'm leisurely watching TV, like I might be a different user, like using the same app. Let's take the example of WhatsApp, right? Like so, I use WhatsApp like while I'm running. I use WhatsApp like when I'm at work. I use WhatsApp when I'm watching TV, when I'm drinking, right? Like Kapil Sharma's tweet, like, so what happened, like, so when he was drunk, and right, like, so there are different angles to the user journey here. So understanding
True.
the user is one of the very important thing. um, and users the mental model, and it keeps changing from different stages, like, so different phases of this one, like, so that's one more thing to keep in mind. So adding those various different stuff, right? Like, so might be, it could be the it could be making it like the same design, right? Like, so working on different devices. It could be what do you say, like there are plenty of those, like, understanding the user completely adds a major role here. So that can be like the major component, like, which will play a different which will add a different ball game altogether.
I hope,
You are
Shubham,
on
your
mute.
question is answered. Yeah. And we have another similar question coming from another user, that what are the most important factor to improve customer experience? So though we talked about the different kind of experience, so probably if I rephrase it in, when you start working on a project and you want to build a world class UX, what is your first line of thought? What do you think first, and till the end you keep that on priority?
So understanding the user needs, right? Like, so for me, at the same time, I have to sell the business as well, right? Like, so assume user may not want the business part of you, but as a business owner, I want to sell, right? Like, so the clear way of blending what user wants and what the uh, business needs to sell. So blending these two, like, will be a major thing. So and then blending that in a different way, like, so would be a major challenge here. And like, so I'll always be on top of it, like, so to achieve those things. Like,
Yeah.
in fact, like, one simple thumb rule I generally follow is like, the users must not ask any questions when they are using the thing, when they are using the product, right? Like, so if they get those questions like what, why, how, where, when, it's a failure. So trying to answer those basic simple questions, trying to get the make the product very intuitive, that like the user won't find it difficult to use any of these things, right? So that will solve more that will be, uh, one of the best UX project, like, so if we try and answer, if the end user doesn't have any questions, like, so when he sees the product.
That's an interesting benchmark to have, that probably delivering your application to the user and just observe that user is not asking any question. That means they can use the application seamlessly without asking any question, could be one of the benchmark of using that application to
Yes.
make a good design. I have another question coming from Shubham Gupta, that how can emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning be utilized to improve digital customer experience?
um, this can be tricky here, uh, because many times the designs may not be capable of handling too many things. So I think like it has to be carefully implemented. Um, we'll have to work through, like, if I have to answer this, um, probably like adapting to those new changes, like, so when it comes to the whole product design, make sure, like, so uh, so one more very important thing, like, so when we actually build a design is like, we expect something, right? Like, so you think through the next step, like what the user might do, right? Like, so
Sure.
you have answers for all of them, and integrate all of those stuff, and build the design to this. So might be like I still have to work on this particular artificial intelligence thing, like, so might be could be
Makes sense. And
next thing.
probably another thought that just came to my mind, that probably, for example, nowadays many large organizations have implemented chatbot, but those chatbots are not smart enough. definitely they are reducing the human requirement at the company side, but the way it has been implemented in such a quick way, and where user experience is spoiled, like you want to ask something, and if it is not part of those given options, the user experience is broken. So in
User
that manner,
experience is
probably, yeah.
user experience is broken, and like you also will lose a client there because of the irritating stuff like so. Yes.
Yeah. So probably, definitely there is a lot of scope of artificial intelligence and machine learning, but definitely that the interaction or the transition has to be smooth enough so that it is beautiful and meaningful for the customer and not spoiling the customer experience. Thanks, Chris, for sharing that insight. Probably I'll take this another question, and this could be the last question for today's tech talk, where Saurabh is asking, what are the good resources to upgrade your UI and UX skill? So, any common recommendation for you? I understand you yourself run Chris School of Web that offers courses on UI UX skills, but beyond that, what are the other things?
So there are plenty of free. So there is one by Google, there is one by Coursera, all of them, and there are plenty of resources from websites like NM Group, Nelson and Norman. Don Norman is one of the pioneer of the UX journey. I think one of the book, like if you suggest, if you ask me to suggest to read is like, so one is from Don Norman, design for everyday thing, and
Design
the
of
other one is
Everyday Thing, the yellow cover book with the cattle on it, right?
cattle. Yes, like so the
Yeah.
beautiful cattle looking cattle, but like it
Yes.
doesn't work as in the 7-star hotel.
Yeah.
The other one is Don't Make Me Think from Steve Krug. So NN Group is one more beautiful website, like, so where you will get a lot of UX related articles, like, so where you can learn more. Human Factors is one more. Humanfactors.com is one more website, like, so where you get a lot of content for you to learn. If you're looking for an end-to-end thing, like so the free resources, I would suggest like so to go for Google, the course on Google and Coursera. And not to ignore LinkedIn. There are few courses on LinkedIn as well on the user experience stuff. Again, UI UX are two different stuff. So if you're looking for UI related courses, again there are plenty of places for UI related courses as well. LinkedIn offers a lot of these courses on individual tools like Figma, Illustrator, Photoshop. Like you don't have to learn all of these tools. Figma would be good enough for you to get started. Even Figma.com is itself like they're going crazy. Like so, the development and stuff like so they're bringing in are beautiful. Figma is also trying to implement the um, development part. Like so earlier, like so when we were using long back, there were multiple tools like for each of those. Like so for wireframing there was different tool, for mind mapping there was different tool, for visual design different tool, and for code and design handover there was different tool. Now it's one and only Figma. You can do everything and anything and everything in Figma today. So Figma.com also offers a lot of these educational videos for you to learn more on Figma.
Sure. And I hope, Saurabh, your question is answered. And definitely we can say that this tech Talk is not sponsored by Figma or Adobe, right? But still, because these are the good tools, they are to be appreciated and people can learn a lot from them. Now, coming back to your story where we started as a barefoot runner. So, what is the next big kick for you that you are looking for in your life beyond the tech work that we are seeing, Krishna?
uh, Again from the UX thing, right? Like so, the user experience of my own body. I started early, like, and I spent whole lot of days, like working till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and like sleeping 2 hours, three. This one. If you notice my eyes like this squint, like so, I can't open eye. And when I'm stepping out in the sun, I have to wear a Ray-Ban. I have to wear a coolers. I can't go out like without the glasses. And then like I hunch. My barefoot running helped me to improvise on all of those. Like, so my eye sight like, got improved. Plus, like so my body posture got improved. Obviously, I'm also more fit with the regular running. Um, and one very important thing is like I don't know if there are any people who are around like who does any kind of workout and stuff. The feeling I get after a workout, this feeling is throughout the day. Throughout the day, the energy like in the body is like completely awesome. And the I don't know, I would just go and run, or I'll go and hit the gym just for that particular feeling, which I carry forward throughout the day. Where the thing like and every time I sip a sip of water, it's a different feeling. That's one thing like I would crave every day like so, with my running. And the other thing like so I'm looking at like might be I don't know Dasrat Manji. I was like completely amazed by listening that like how can one guy do this thing. Just as a tribute, I've seen like many people like completely awesome journey. Whatever they've done, like so the people swimming through the oceans, like people running through the forest, like for 3 days, 4 nights, and like so various stories like I've been read and heard. And I was always thinking, what if I can run till the place where Dasrat Manji carved out the road out of the mountain. So if I have to run from my workplace to his like I did a similar thing like so a few years back in 2017, where I did run on my birthday around 82 kilometers. That's not barefoot though. Even like probably I don't know if I'm going to attempt barefoot like for my next big run. But I want to run around probably I don't know, it will be around 1,500 kilometers till Bihar. That's a man's place. Like, so that's one thing like I would crave. Um just to feel the whole thing, right? Like uh, someone spending his lifetime carving the mountain. That was crazy, and might be I'll try to emulate. Not emulate, try to live that particular thing, that moment when you run and complete like so I don't know when I'm going to plan and work on that. But that's the major big thing like I'm looking forward
So we can see the transition happening from user experience or customer experience from soul experience. That's a big inspiration. That definitely all of us have heard the story of great Dashrath Manji, who created a road out of this big thing, right? But walking and your ambition is also very quite a big thing, that you are thinking of running for 1,500 kilometer towards that place from your area. That I think it's a big stuff, big thing to have.
so two reasons like for me to work not to work for 3 months. I need to make good money over here, like so that's a boost, like so earn a lot of money so that like you don't work for some time.
Sure.
Plus, one other thing is uh, that when someone can do it, right? Like so, without uh, uh, any goal or anything, like so, for just to not goal. So obviously, he had a bigger goal in front of him.
Yes. True.
Like without any what do you call it?
Any direct benefit or
Benefit
remuneration,
from this, like
he's not
just
paid
it is.
anything, right?
So that's one thing, and one other very important thing is that we generally limit ourselves. We know we can do more, but like so we limit ourselves. Like so the limit we put that break, and even the human body is incredible the way it is made. It has been made, and like we most of the time like we don't use it to the maximum extent, and like we use it like human body is not made to take rest on the couch, right? Like so it was made to survive with more like just like assume you are in jungle and like so there are a lot of predators around, and like so we are using that we are abusing our bodies these days in different terms. So I thought like why not tame your body for such just in one word, disaster management. Get ready for for the any kind of disaster it may happen. Tune your
Sure.
body to that particular purpose. So I think that's the best gift you can give for your future self.
Sure. So you are setting, Krish, that example of don't limit yourself. It can be your work where client may have a pressing deadline, but still, if you have to make a good design, good code, you have to deliver a great application. Don't just deliver for client, but deliver for your own soul experience. That what you deliver as quality, and I think that itself is visible in your whole journey. Thanks, Krishna, for being on VectoScalar Tech Talk show. It was great to have you and getting the different kind of experiences that you have shared with us. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. Like yeah, feels immensely honored. Thank you.
And thanks to the viewers who are always watching the VectoScalar Tech Talk show and sharing it with their friends so that we are getting more and more viewers in each and every show. We have the contact details and the LinkedIn profile of Krishna Gowda mentioned in the below link. So you can connect with him, you can follow him and understand the great things about him. Do join for next week VectoScalar Tech Talk show with another amazing speaker. And with that, signing off, Vikas Jain. Bye bye. Have a nice day ahead.